All right, everyone, welcome back. We are heading into the final day of group games here in Season 36 of Esea Premier, and it's going to be Winstrike versus Singularity, the number 1 versus the number 8 team currently in the group. So it's really about Singularity right now, trying to keep themselves out of that auto-relegation position, and it's Winstrike trying to confirm that first place seed, because if they were to lose it by a decent margin, you were saying, of course, there was a chance that they could potentially still move down. Right now, though, we've got an interesting setup on A. It's very aggressive from Singularity, and Notan does a fantastic job at actually getting 2 kills from Sandwich, and they still have Remoy tucked in underneath the balcony, who is going to be a nuisance alongside that CT crossfire, but it's not even needed. Remoy's doing it on his own, and while he eventually falls, his teammates should easily have this one on 3 handled.
Nickelback already down to 41 HP. Doesn't have bomb on his back either, so very little that Winstrike can do with this first round. And well, Singularity, they've come to fight clearly. Remoy and Noten looking very hot initially. And as we said, seedings on the line for Winstrike, potentially getting out of those auto demotion and into the relegation tournament spots for Singularity as well. It does depend on the round differences, the seeds, that sort of thing. It gets very complicated this time of year as Nickelback tagged down low. Iceberg finishes the job. And while that A site hold clean as you like from Singularity, looked like they had a nice read on it as well. We've seen CT sides leaning towards the A site retake more often than not in the current meta, but they're willing to stand, they're willing to fight, and the individuals make it pay off. Without the bomb plant, Winstrike looking at a mediocre force find, none of the AKs that we've become all too accustomed to seeing. Instead, a few Deagles, Tech 9 for Crad. Ellen does actually get, or Elian, gets a scout with the armor behind it, but this mid-aggression punishes it. SMF takes the tag, happy to do so, as Larson there to back him up with the second, and now just about Singularity cleaning up house. Lackey does well to at least get a tag, but he's isolated with the bomb on his back in top of mid, and Larson's just going to hang around and try and cause as much havoc as possible. Forrester manages to get out onto A and does find some damage again. 2 or 3 players on this Singularity side of things tagged pretty damn low. But the Deagles and Tex, they need to start finding some picks to get themselves into this round.
I mean, yeah, as you said, with 3 players low, it can certainly still happen, but there's a point where the numbers just begin to kind of overwhelm you, even if the health is tagged up on a few of those players. At the moment, though, they do have a chance to catch Larson on his own at top mid here as well. Kind of pinned in. He's got a little bit of help, as we can see, coming from Connector now, and it looked like Lackey had spotted him. But wasn't quite ready as the re-peek came in, and, well, nice shot by Forrester. He'd got himself up on top of the boxes in the back of A somehow. Didn't quite expect the second player, though, to be already tucked in the spawn and ready for the trade. So, yeah, it's all on Crad at this point. Obviously, this was the full investment from Winstrike, so unless they're actually able to get another kill or 2 here, it's not really made worthwhile. If Singularity can hold on to all 4 of these players, especially all those rifles, then that's going to be huge. A little bit dangerous there. The fight is being taken, but yeah, kind of just tucks back in, lets the peak then be baited in towards Remoy, who's holding the angle. So good work. Singularity only losing the 1 player in the end, despite things looking a little bit shaky with the amount of damage that they took in the opening moments. And obviously they have a chance to make this another clean round. It's only going to be mostly Glocks. You've got 1 P250, you get a Deagle for Lackey, but even then, this is impacting the nades slightly that they're going to have in this next round. So I think ideally they'd like to be getting the bomb down.
Not the best of looks, and of course, Noten and Iceberg on those 2 MP9s going to be looking to farm up as much cash as physically possible into this one. Really unfortunate for Winstrike there, you have to say. They were getting the tags off, and that's normally where those sort of rounds get dangerous, but just not enough firepower to get it over the line. As Larson aggressive in middle, couple of players peeking into his crosshairs, will be traded 1 for 1. That's a rifle recovered, a little bit of utility behind it as well. And this is where these sort of rounds can get just a little bit dangerous, a little bit awkward. Already a rifle has been salvaged away. Admittedly, Lackey taken down to 15 HP on the A ramp is not going to make it easy, but this is exactly what you don't want to be giving away, right? You want to be getting those MP9s on the board, farming some kills up on those, not losing any rifles at all. Ideally, you want to be building that bank up on the CT side of things and just not giving Winstrike any room to breathe. It's going to be the A setup. Delayed until they do get their hands on at least a little bit of utility. Just the 1 Molotov to try and flush out one of these angles for Nickelback. If he uses it under wood, then maybe he manages to flush out a player. Iceberg would then be stuck with nowhere to retreat to, and they could start to trade things out. But Remoy in a fantastic position in jungle as well. Should just be a matter of converting this one down, finding the frags to make it happen. Iceberg's going to get aggressive on the ramp, dinks up the next man through. Forrester and Lackey desperately low, and it's the spray of the MP9 to land too. Lackey does find the trade, but again, just 20-odd HP between these two remaining Deagles. It's a 3-on-2, sure, but they've got no health to work with. Have to be crisp with these 1-Deags, and Remoy, he's been given an opportunity, does get taken down, and now that bomb plant comes through. As you said, they get exactly what they want. Bomb goes down, extra finance their side, and a couple of rifles taken away as well. The swing will be punished. They will be able to grab at least one of those 4A1Ss. They should know that there's a second one in Palace as well. It should definitely be recoverable, but well, if you Winstrike, that's everything you wanted, right? A few frags across the board. Admittedly, they saved the rifles, but you got a bomb plant down as well. It builds up your bank, and it gives you a chance to buy properly into the 4th round.
Yeah, and with that, it was a slightly slower round as well. So even before that, we'd seen a lot of nades and all being used. So a decent amount of reinvestment does have to come back in. They basically just kind of flipped the scenario. They got the 1 kill when they had the forced buy, which is kind of what you'd expect when you're on the eco. And then obviously they got the 3 while on the eco. So it is a position here, obviously, where they have a good opportunity in this first gun round to try and get going. Obviously, though, Singularity, they're not lacking in the current buy, but, well, they are lacking in manpower now, because Larson wanted to peek above that connector smoke and is instantly punished by Elian, or I think you went with Ellen, was it?
Elian.
I think you went with, no,
works.
Ellen, though. I found that really funny. You called him Ellen.
Oh, leave me alone. It looks like an L. I wear glasses, man. You can't believe it.
No, it's fair. It's just a funny one. Oh, he did spot that. Yeah, nice shot on Notan. That's going to force him back away from the apps now. It looks like they do want to heavily commit on towards B, and, well, they've given a bit of an indication about this. They've also got the short control, so I'm slightly surprised we're not seeing the quicker rotate, but I guess Iceberg was trying to hold off that short push, and he's instantly gone now. Quick shot by Forrester, and yeah, this is going to be the pounce on to B within the next couple of seconds. Remoy's on his way. If he can get there in time, then perhaps they will have the help that they need.
If all 3 players are here, this could get dangerous, but as Forrester takes out the low HP man, SMF being spotted out backbench as well. Winstrike should just be able to barrel their way into this site. Coming out of the apartments now, SMF isolated, does well to get himself one, and Remoy can readjust onto that angle with the HP, but it's not going to matter. Just the 1 frag in the round from Singularity, and Winstrike, I think that's much more like what we were expecting from them. It was a little awkward, actually. At the very start of the round, you saw Singularity actually missed a Molotov onto a ramp and ended up mollying their own bench. That caused their AWPer to be an extra half second late because he had to think about whether he wanted to go through the molly or not. He gets picked by Elian off the back of it, and well, from there, the round, as we know it, falls apart. And Singularity, their economy falls apart as well. This is the problem with losing those rifles to ecos. You end up in these situations all too often where you had a nice spree of rounds, you lose one, and then out of nowhere you're looking at a half buy, arguably going to be forcing into this one with just the 1 round loss bonus. There's not going to be much cash left if they don't. Looks like they are just going to pick up the pistols, though, try and see what damage they can get off onto Winstrike in return, who have a very strong full buy.
Yeah, it's rough, though. I mean, with Remoy being on the double eco, if they want to buy up in the next round, he's going to be left on either an SMG or maybe a FAMAS. So it won't be perfect. It'll be a chance for Winstrike if Singularity do, of course, buy at that point to maybe even get themselves into the lead up 4-3 if they win out against that kind of scrappy buy. So, yeah, it's risky. As you said, they are hoping for at least some damage to be done. If Singularity could get a couple of kills, steal away 1 rifle even, then that would help them out massively in this next round. So I'd have to say that is probably the goal. And they do have a flash as well. They're moving in on mid now. Yeah, they'd heard some nades coming over. The smoke was only tossed down right now, I believe, in towards window. So they are going to find Winstrike moving in this direction, but they're not quite going to have the surprise that they thought they would have. And, well, there's still 1 kill being found for Notan. The weapon not really in a position where it can be retrieved, unfortunately, but Larson, he's gone ahead and taken one away. Over on that A bomb site now, they realize he's in that direction, obviously, so the bomb's going to be taken and just ran over towards B. But, I mean, Lackey's low. Crad on 64. An op in the hands of Elian. So if he was to miss a shot, then things could get dangerous. He has now been spotted, though. So I would imagine they play this pretty conservatively. Get the molly down, as you can see. Hold things off. Don't even really go for any peeks and just ensure this bomb is going to go down now and play off at that time. Yeah, I think the save has to be taken here for Larson. As I said, they need a weapon for Remoy.
That's the problem, isn't it? If he had the finances, maybe he tries to commit to this. He knows there's some damage onto a couple of these players as well. The Deagle tag coming through onto Crad, Lackey taking a dink. So he knows there's some HP to maybe be exploited, but as you said, just not enough money. Remoy scraping the bottom of the barrel on 1450. He needs that AK to be thrown across to make the next buy viable. It's a little unfortunate, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And Singularity, again, all credit to them. Just upgraded pistols, Deagles, P250s. They do get a couple of kills. They get some more damage that they're unfortunate not to find the conversion for as well. So definitely looks like a more closely fought game here on Mirage than I think we were initially expecting, given the standings and given the statistics between these two teams.
Yeah, for sure. I was saying I thought we would have an interesting game for sure. Obviously, it's Singularity basically trying to fight rather to avoid that relegation instantly without having a chance to at least have a few more games and actually stay in. So there is a decent amount on the line. For Winstrike, they could still go down to that second seed, make things a little bit more complicated for themselves in the early rounds of the playoffs. So they obviously want to try and ensure that they're going to end the season on a high note. So yeah, it's one that definitely could be a strong game. We're going to need to see Singularity getting themselves stabilized, I think, early again now that the guns are in play, though. Otherwise, the economy is just going to be a massive issue for them, as we see happening sometimes, especially when you're against teams like Winstrike who can really just get up in your face. Late mid control, though. We've seen this a couple of times. That was the window smoke, I believe, going down. They don't have anyone moving from under quite yet, but I think Crad might move back in that direction. So we could actually be looking towards the A split right now. You've even got Forrester currently walking out of ramp. Might even be able to catch Remy, who's up on pallets right now.
There's a fair few timings on the board. Iceberg drawn into this connector play by that smoke. Has a nice angle over the top of it if Crad swings too wide. Aware of it, though, not going to give him the chance. And as you said, Forrester, he's already out Tetris. A split seems very viable at this point, and Crad is just waiting for anybody to peek their way into the window. The break will give away the play somewhat, and the Molotov to follow it up. Iceberg going to be forced off that angle. See Singularity desperate for some info. They're going to pop flash themselves into short, but that's going to be too little too late. The explosion out top con is coming now, and Elian is here to back things up. Remoy going to have it all to do under dark. Does manage to find himself the first molly to buy time. Iceberg only just now traded. This is a little more viable, but Lackey finds the critical shot. Remoy goes down in the middle of sight. Larson, the only player here to try and defend. He's going to sit in the molly. He'll hit the shot, but he'll burn alive as a result.
Got it.
And 2v1. Oh, he's got the time. Oh my goodness, I didn't think he'd done that.
Yeah,
okay.
He tanked the damage just to get that one shot, and damn was it close. What a play. What a play by Larson. I didn't realize how low the time was initially either. I saw him, he's heavily committed to sitting in this molly, man, in the 2-on-3. One kill wouldn't be enough was my thought process. Then I looked up, noticed there was only like 8 seconds, and well, yeah, he ends up catching the shot. That was insane. Obviously, during the actual play, I mean, I wasn't even the one commentating it. It took me a moment to know how low the time was. So I think we'll have to forgive you for lacking that info, because things were incredibly hectic once that hit came in. It just went initially. Obviously, Winstrike got pretty much free mid-control. They sat around for a long time with it and then just bursted on towards A. And it looked like it was going to be their round until Larson hits an incredible shot through triple. So that's a big find. The issue is they only end up living with the one player. They don't get the save over the op either, which was pretty important there in that previous round. So actually managing to chain these rounds together now and keeping this going is going to be a tough one, especially as Winstrike comes straight back onto literally everything they could ask for. But there's a chance here. If Singularity win this round, then the economy won't be that great onto a couple of players of Winstrike. So you could maybe see then a bit of a mix-matched buy. So a good opportunity for Control to really be taken back. But that's not a great start.
Big punishment coming in. It's a bold play from Larson, knowing he only has the scout as well, to try and go for that initial pick, to try and get some information in towards middle. Punished pretty much immediately, so Winstrike will have their man advantage and look to correct their mistakes. But Singularity, off the back of that, are actually getting more aggressive still. Full ramp control taken, and there's no T-side in the world that is going to imagine this is happening, so there's a clock on this play immediately. They are going to speed things up, though, and this B-bomb site looking so vulnerable. Noten, just the MP9 doing all he can to stall for this flank. He knows he needs to buy more time than that, and as Elian finds the first, that clock is running desperately low. Bomb should make its way out of the apartments before the backstab comes in. And Crad, well, he'll sacrifice his life to be the early warning side. Iceberg will take the frag early, not looking for the trigger discipline. That's the information they need, surely. Iceberg actually gets across initially, but Forrester's there to punish. And as you said, lack of firepower, lack of nades, lack of opportunity. Nickelback's actually going to take out the first, and as the save comes in, Lackey's going to punish it. SMF given absolutely nothing. And Winstrike, they bite back immediately. And these back and forth rounds, they are not good for your CT economy. There's nobody above 2K. They're on 1 round loss bonus. this is not a good place for a CT side to find themselves early on in the half.
No, it is really not. You can see it's forced them to just go for the straight up buy. The Eagles, few nades behind the body armor on everyone, and well, if this is a round win for Winstrike, which it should be, then they're very likely going to go ahead and claim the lead. I mean, it's Mirage. It's not the most CT-sided map ever by any means. You can still salvage back halves with 6 or 7 rounds, but I think that's kind of the bare minimum that they want to be aiming for. And it does seem like Winstrike are on track for a pretty strong T side. I mean, since the guns have come out, it's been 4 or 5 rounds, or rather 3 of 4 rounds going the way of Winstrike. Alien looks to peek out ramp. This could be a little bit dangerous. There's a player up close on the headshot angle, but no, never mind. That is plenty a target for him to go ahead and connect. Neither of those mollies land on default, actually, so I was going to say Larson is being given a bit of room, but okay, one of them had gone in behind them, so it did kind of force him forward a small bit. Yeah, bomb's going to go down. This is an easy round at this point. SMF in no time could even consider saving, and I think that's the conclusion they've already come to.
Gotta make the call at this point. I mean, they're not getting back into this round, are they? Too much firepower available over on the T side of things. And of course, as we said, if this round doesn't go the way of Singularity, it's a full eco. So having at least a couple of D-Eagles, a smoke and a flashbang on SMF to maybe try and set up some aggressive play with those 3 remaining players who are going to be down on the fullest of ecos. It's something, right? It's at least a little more potency to bring to the following round. So we will level things out. 4 apiece. Winstrike looking scrappy in places, but getting it getting it over the line regardless, and keeping all 5 players up. You know, we talk about it all the time, how important it is, and even when they lost that round to the clock, they kept 2 players. SMF and Singularity only managed to keep 1, so it's a really rough look for the CT side here, and well, Winstrike, they are profiting pretty much across the board. Everybody's got fantastic finances at this point. Should just be a matter of cleaning this round up. Crad should be able to build himself up a nice bank on that SMG as well. And from here, well, the T side can really start to build themselves a half. Fast mid control coming in. Crad, he's going to be the spearhead of this hit. Already all the way up into the window. Does get punished, SMF. Spamming away with the Deagle. Will find the frag despite the dink through the wall. So Winstrike at least down a man, and potentially Alien aggressive on that AWP, vulnerable to being overwhelmed. Forrester does go out onto the A-bomb site. There is a frag, and Alien does fall, but have they got enough men? Have they got enough firepower to make this happen? SMF is stuck in the window with that recovered MAC-10 and Deagle combo. Noten in the underpass, and as his teammates are taken out, the Molotov actually does it for him. SMF gets the frag onto Lackey, so 2v1. I mean, again, Singularity, they're making something of this round, but the last player's position is known. The Molotov forces him back, the drop comes through, and Forrester will find the conversion. So honestly, a really nice round from Singularity to get those 3 frags to do some economic damage, but it was never going to go all the way over the line.
And by now, I don't think the economic damage is all that important either. I mean, Ilian up on 11,000, nearly 9,000 for Nickelback, Forrester, and Lackey doing pretty good. It's only Crad who's a little bit low, and even then he has enough for a buy in the reserve. So it's going to be Singularity needing at least a couple of rounds in a row to really put a dent in that economy and start breaking it down. It's going to be rough. They don't have a kit in this buy. They don't have the op either, which was pretty impactful in that previous gun round when they were able to obviously bring it out, and Larson ended up making the play to win them the round. So it's not ideal, but we'll see what can be done. It's a much slower approach from Winstrike as well, surprisingly so. They had 3 over in the apartments early, maybe expecting some aggression. Forrester again has walked out on the Tetris. It looks like Iceberg has an idea this time, and indeed, that plan is going to be sunk there for Forrester. Not quite working out. That should confirm pretty much that there's no one else up close on ramp, especially as Remi now pushes in. So I'm loving this counter control that they're taking after losing mid.
2-man shot sets up for Singularity as well. 1-man boosted up, gets himself the first. Teammate there to swing on the recovery, and that is perfect. Picture book short hold from Singularity, and now Crad in these apartments. He's been here the whole time. He's got so many players to worry about. Too many angles, not enough time. He'll go down. Looking for the flawless round at this point, Singularity. Alien, the only player that stands between them and it. Remoy on that backstab already. And Alien, I mean, he's got the money to commit, sure, but with the situation, I think he's just going to be looking to maybe take a couple of rifles away late round, do some damage to that economy for Singularity because it's far less established than Winstrike's, and then try and save the orb, right? I don't think he's going to want to let all 5 rifles stay up. That would be a risky move, to say the least. And he's got the money to, if it goes wrong and he does lose the AWP, to reinvest into it once, maybe even twice if his teammates can support that around him. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't go for some kind of a peak. For now, though, happy to lie in wait at the murder hole. Larson may get his dues at this point. He's peeked up into the ladder room as the clock goes down to 0, but Elian actually not interested at all. Does just start to peek things with the AWP right as that clock goes dead, but nothing going to come through. All 5 players kept alive for Singularity, and an opportunity to maybe make something off the back of those foundations.
Yeah, I think he just didn't want to show himself, because even then if he caught a kill or two and done some damage, suddenly he could end up giving the up away to them, which
Yeah,
obviously
I
then
can see it.
is not really so worthwhile. So just keep the extra money themselves. They've still got quite a few rounds here on the half. It might come in handy later on, and yeah, I'm fine with the approach there. A bit of damage could have also been incredibly useful, as you said, though, if he was able to snatch 1 or 2 and then back off and stay alive. It did allow for full nades to be bought back up. There's kits on everyone as well now on Singularity, so it's a much more secure buy than what they had in that previous round. Not really doing a lot though in the opening moments. Rather, once again, it is that more passive hold. Not going to be challenging mid. They've allowed Winstrike to move in and take what they want. This time, not really getting any counter ramp aggression either off the back of it, or aggression through the B apps to take some control. So there is just at the moment so much room being given over to Winstrike, with also a lot of time on that clock to actually make it work rather, and really decide what they want to approach. Looking like it might be towards B, just because you have that player watching back towards apps, but at the moment they are putting pressure in connector as well, so it could really be anywhere. And they're trying to obviously make this as unpredictable as possible for Singularity.
Just doing their due diligence initially. The utility there to try and clear up the early angles, and it does look like this B split's going to come through, right? The bomb and Forrester making their way through the underpass to join Crad, who's just been holding these B apartments the whole time, making sure there's no funny business. Lackey will remain posted in the ladder room to try and catch the rotations, but it's a nice early rotate, in fact, coming out from the boys on Singularity. 3 players, in fact, over on this B bomb site. A lack of utility to stall this one out, but some good flashes to maybe try and get some damage. Jumping out the window, Crad's the first man to face. The trades do come through initially. They finally clear up the site, but it's Larson to make it awkward. 3 on 2. Bomb should at least go down. Rotation will be able to come through, though. Remoy, nobody there to cut him off, so with 8 seconds left, the digits will be pumped in, and the problem now is that lack of utility. Last pop flash has gone out to try and get Larson into a position where he can maybe peek something. Elian does give up the window angle, but he's going to take his peek. Larson finds the first. The Nickelback with a nade out has left Elian in this 1-on-2. Does well with the Tech 9 for the first. And Remoy, half HP on Elian on this AWP. He's looking to play the time, play the close angle, spotting the barrel. It is Remoy who finds the spray down, finds the conversion, and you've got to say, Winstrike, they threw that one away a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, not necessarily. I mean, good shots being hit by Larson, but they also could have been set up better there to not let him just walk out the door with no flash even needed, and then just have the ability to find both of those frags. And yeah, obviously good work by Remai then as well to finish it off in the 1-on-1. Elian was in a really tough position, pinned in one corner. He knows he's there half health as well, I believe, so it just needed to be that quick scope that gets connected, and wasn't quite able to do so. So yeah, another big round for Singularity. They really are getting some momentum going for themselves at this point. These rounds are very passive though, so I do feel like Winstrike again are being given the room to try whatever they want, so it's going to be tough to keep it going in this kind of style, but maybe they can prove me wrong. Iceberg's already gone ahead and caught Nickelback creeping out ramp. They actually have no one watching connector. I'm pretty sure he was spotted by the short player, but perhaps the info just wasn't given over quite quick enough there, so that's going to give a big opening now out ramp and Palace for these players.
Again, heavy CT stack though. The information has made its way across. The rotations have come in. Elian is going to try and get whatever he can done on the AWP. Lackey still in around mid, and Larson going to give him the opportunity. Free first is traded out though. SMF there to back his AWP up, and Remoy takes out the ramp control. Forrester just forced to swing, can't get it done. And Elian, well, he's half HP, make it a quarter from the early nades that came through down that ramp in the 1-on-3. This time, the save is the right call, still with 50 seconds left on the clock, but he just can't afford to commit to it whatsoever. And well, Singularity, they've done it. They've broken the finances. Not quite yet, I will say. Crad's the only player who's really struggling at this point, but they've broken the back of this from Winstrike. Such a strong start on the T side. They finally got over the top of it. 3 players kept alive on the CT side, and the AWP saved. Can't ask for much more. 7th round on the board. The lead will extend to 2. Well, Singularity, they're going to put up a fight.
Yeah, and they need to hear. Despite this being Winstrike's map pick, we said Nuke coming up next is still a really strong map for Winstrike. So I don't know how confident of a pick that's going to be from Singularity. We were saying in general, actually, the kind of way the maps match up for these two teams is just not great at all for Singularity. Every single map that they play, the Winstrike just play a ton more. They're incredibly active, to be fair. So there's a lot of stats to be going off of. Maybe a little bit of padding in there from some smaller tournaments as well, but it's just the sheer amount that they actually do play. They're an incredibly active team. But obviously, 2 rounds now up for Singularity. It's been, I believe, 4 in a row at this point. So we are having a pretty good run of rounds now for Singularity. And if they can keep that up, if they can get towards 10-5 on the halftime especially, that's absolutely incredible. They'll be in an amazing position at that point to potentially take the pistol on the second half and really get going towards that finish line. Oh, this is ballsy from Iceberg. Yeah, they finally want to try and contest this mid control. Flashed in, catches Lackey dropping down from short, and although they did have another player who wanted to try and push up short itself, they decide to back away. They've got a good man advantage now that they can just sit on. It's Winstrike instead who feel the pressure to make a play happen. And you can see instantly they've called for this to be brought back over towards B. Where at the moment on the bomb site itself, there was only one player. Thankfully, they've moved SMF back over.
They're rotating more as well. Larson's gone through the murder hole. He'll be in close proximity.
Oh, he's actually
Singularity, it takes them 13 rounds to get any kind of mid-aggression going. And as a result, Winstrike caught a little off guard there. No pop flash to give it away. Just straight out through the smoke. Pick is found by Iceberg. And, well, Winstrike a man down. Actually forced out of the B apartment. HE and flashbangs to combine and force this control to fall off. They're going back towards middle. And 40 seconds left on the clock. They've got to start making their mind up about one of these sites. Look like they're going to split through short. Larson not posted on it. There's still 2 players inside of the site, though. Fast rotation going to come through from Iceberg. They need to clear these men out quickly. Winstrike and the dink from SMF could be critical. Noten manages to get one, pushes aggressively into Get Right. Will still be traded, but there's Iceberg on the site. He goes down. Damage across the board, but Larson is on that AWP. Potentially not going to be all that critical. 3 on 2 again as the bomb goes down. One more Molotov to buy a little more time for this T side. Remoy posted in towards the kitchen window. Molotov to stop him getting out. Buys a little more time for Winstrike. All 3 players low, 2 desperately so. This one could yet swing back the way of Singularity. Forrester's thinking about the aggression. Knows he's low HP. Will face the AWP. Goes down, but it's Singularity saving. I think the damage unconfirmed on a couple of these players, so can't really afford to commit to it. They'll instead keep those 2 rifles. And well, Singularity, they'll scrap it out again. It's an awkward round once more. The health on these players is desperately low, but they still get it across the board. Still get their 6th, and they're still making a run of things on their T-side pick.
Yeah, that didn't look like it was going to be their round either. Not only was there the initial man advantage from that flash out connector for Iceberg to get the pick, there was so much nade damage done around the apartments, but Winstrike, the reapproach up through short turns out to be the right decision. And honestly, it didn't look like it was going to be either. It looked like they were going to start getting picked off. You had Crad though up in the apartments. He ended up saving the life of one of the players coming up short, who had a flash out as he got peaked. So everything kind of just worked perfectly there for Winstrike. Great team play, great positioning as well to ensure no one was really left on their own. And yeah, in the end, they are able to grind that one out. They get the 6th, which is kind of now, it's a T side that at least is doable. Whether they don't manage to get these next 2 rounds or add another one on top of it or not, 6 is still decent. Obviously, though, Singularity, with the position they had initially and with the kind of recovery they've started to get, if they can get towards 9, they're still going to be in a really good spot where I think they can be more than happy with the half. Looking like a bit of a different approach, though, from Winstrike. They're showing some presence around mid a little bit later, as they have been pretty much always. But you can see they are set up to move on towards A pretty quickly with this one. And, well, at the moment, Singularity seem to think it's a B hit. They've got a 3-man stack in place. They might get aggressive really quick now. I'm seeing them getting up towards the apartment, so they might be able to get the info and start rotating back over, but they still won't be here quite in time. You're going to need to see these A players holding off, and, well, that's an instant kill from Forrester. Didn't expect Iceberg under the palace, and he's able to at least get one more before he falls. But a 3-on-3 for Winstrike, that is a really good position, especially as they still have one smoke here that should give them room to get a plant down. Yeah, putting it towards the top of connector.
Plant for short. Suggests there'll be a long rotation from Elian if he wants to go for it. Lackey will get it down. And as you said, that second frag gives them a little bit of time. Spamming through the smoke. Larson not quite able to connect. And this double CT setup really needs to come to fruition. They need to get into this bomb site early. They have the utility to do so. SMF, even a smoke to stick on top of the bomb. CT Finance is not in a good spot. They need this round to go well. Long rotation has been committed to. Crad will be escaping this bomb site. Smoke goes onto the bomb, and they may well just stick it. SMF, though, without the kit, taps it, baits the peak. Lackey goes down. The backstab will come through from Crad, but Elliot needs to buy a little more time, and he's missed his flick. It's all on Crad in the 1v2, and the stick inside the smoke. Noten low HP. It doesn't matter. SMF is there to back his man up, and Singularity, they will rescue themselves from the ashes of that round. They get their 8th on the board. Their economy does not yield, and now they've got an opportunity to make this a solid CT half.
I'm loving the grind we're seeing from them. Normally when you have a team who are obviously having a really rough season, you'd expect them in these rounds where they have a slow start or where things are scrappy and back and forth to not be able to keep the challenge going. But it seems like Singularity, no matter how much pressure is on, are still able to make things work. So I'm enjoying what we're getting from them. Again, though, I do think this 9th round is relatively necessary for them to end the half on a high note. And it's not bad by any means to buy, rather, for Winstrike. They've got 4 AKs, 1 Deagle just limited on towards Alien, which isn't great, especially now as one of the rifles already goes down being boosted into the window, in a position where it's not going to be recoverable either. Again, I think we have a player also trying to creep out ramp there, so this is going to be interesting. It needs to be a kill that's found for them to really start moving their way back into the round, and, well, at the moment, not much being done, just some further damage. Oh, nice shot by Forrester.
That starts to open things up, and Remoy goes down. The Deagle damage is converted on. Man advantage now found for the T side. There is still the matter of Iceberg, but he swings too soon. Lackey gets the frag. Retake looking to come in. SMF, if he dumps his whole clip, he's in danger, and indeed he is. Lackey through the smoke will trade things down to the last man. Noten doing all he can. 2 to his name already, looking for the quad. Baits out the peak from under dark, and the spam through the wood will connect. Krad's only got half HP. This is awkward for both men. Noten's going to swing, but he won't quite find the connection. 8-7 at the half. The closest of margins between the top and the bottom team in Group A of ESTA Premier. And I think that just shows you how close this entire season has been.
Yeah, no, this is insane, what we're getting right there. Notan giving it his best effort. He only had 3 bullets left going into that final exchange during the one-on-one. If he had a few more bullets, then maybe that would have been his, but obviously wasn't able to make it work. Winstrike, I think they did kind of need to bring themselves up towards 7, though, to feel really good about the half. I said 6 would have been decent. You wouldn't have been in a bad position at that point, but yeah, 7, considering they got off to such a high note as soon as those guns were brought out. Obviously, we did see Singularity win the pistol and go up 3-0, but that was with some damage being done. Then we saw them getting broken pretty much immediately. Winstrike managed to get themselves a good few rounds going before it was again Singularity who kind of took back some control. So yeah, to end it with another round there is what they wanted. We don't have a long break here at the halftime, I believe, so we should be back into things relatively soon. I mean, the pistol round, it's not the most important, but I think if Singularity get it, especially, then it's gonna really light a fire under them.
It definitely does feel like Winstrike needs to take a little bit of control of this situation, right? We were hyping them up, top team in the group with a game in hand. Talked about how round difference could be key for their seeding moving forwards, and well, it's been an awkward look for them on the first half, right? This is a map that they've played 4 times as much as Singularity have. 28 maps in the last 3 months. They've got a near 70% win rate on it. They are a very well-versed Mirage team compared to the, 7 maps and 29%. So 3 out of 7 for Singularity. It's not a good look for them. It's not a map that they've been known to go towards all too consistently. And it's the pick of Winstrike as well. So all the signs point towards a nice clean sweep to open things up, and I think Winstrike will be looking to make that the case on the CT side. A little bit slow to enter the server, but they'll be looking to exit it at pace. And as you said, we've got Nuke second map, Train as the decider if it's required. And I think if we do get down to that 3rd map, then Train potentially somewhere where Singularity can really look to apply the pressure. Clearly got some kind of strat in mind, picking in towards Nuke. Only played it 4 times in the last 3 months. It's not going to be a map with a whole load of footage for Winstrike to study. And there is an absolute boatload of Winstrike footage for the Singularity coaches to get their teeth into. So this one definitely is closer than perhaps the groups would lead you to believe. And if Winstrike can't take this pistol, if they can't start to wrestle momentum back, Singularity, as you said, are a team who are very capable of punishing.
for sure. I do still think Nuke's going to be interesting. I just don't know what exactly we're going to get from them. The same to be said with Train. But both maps, I mean, not terrible statistically for Singularity. It's just that there's so few games to go off of in comparison to Winstrike, especially. And while Crad, he wants to get right up in the face of them in Palace right now, spins around for the 180 and might still have a bit more in him. He's actually taken a long time to be traded out, and that just allows Elian to come in and clean up as well towards the ramp and eventually get that final trade. So it's a very quick pistol round, and it's going to tie things back up at 8-8.
I think Crad got that second kill on the ladder as well, so the inaccuracy
so, yeah.
must have been through the roof, man, and he still finds the connection, still finds the headshot. And yeah, well, we spoke about Winstrike trying to take that momentum back. That is one hell of a way to do it. Aggression into Palace gets you one, and he stays alive for so damn long. Just not dying is all he has to achieve there. Manages that in some style. Winstrike aren't going to be coming up against the Force Buy, though. Singularity, Deagles, armor behind it. Molotov from Forrester. I don't think Iceberg had any idea that hadn't been put out by the smoke, so he just burns alive straight up. Losing a man very early on, not ideal whatsoever. Still a decent amount of firepower available, though, and good utility. There's definitely a full B execute on the cards if they want to line it up. Bomb actually making its way back out through spawn, though. Remoy.
Oh, yeah.
Looking to loop back in towards a mid-split, I think. Elian in the window with the AUG. Winstrike not interested in committing at all. They know they've got that man advantage. They're going to sit back, play the angles. Nickelback will hold for any jump in towards the window. Elian will rotate towards Ticket to hold connector. And they're just going to set up camp inside these bomb sites. Not interested in that mid-control whatsoever. Forrester under, gets the pick. Noten goes down, and this is the problem for Singularity. They lost the early man to the Molotov. That's a little unfortunate. Forrester gets his second pick with the MP9, and now the numbers are so low. The pistols, they do their best work when they're grouped, right? Elian might swing into this peak, sure, but he should be able to get away with just a dink going against him. Larson spotted out. The arm pokes wide. Nickelback will get the frag. The one tap from Elian. And this is nightmare scenario for Singularity. Full investment into this round. Not a single frag found yet. No damage to the CT economy at all. And with 15 seconds left on the clock, Remoy does need to hurry up and die at this point. 10 seconds as he jumps in towards the window. Will be mopped up by Lackey. And flawless from Winstrike. Full eco coming up for Singularity before they can get the rifles out. And an opportunity for the CT side to start building their half.
Yeah, having a chance to do what Singularity weren't quite able to, which was to build up that economy in those initial rounds. We'll see whether they drop anything in this one, because, I mean, the Force Buy didn't work out too well, I don't think, for Winstrike either, and then it was the Eco where they were able to get a few kills and get that bomb down and really boost themselves up, and obviously at that point knock their opponent down a notch. We'll see if the same can be done for Singularity as, well, they look to move on towards B with 3 players anyway. Making a bit of noise, it's not like a heavy commitment, they aren't actually looking to move in quite yet. I don't know what exactly the plan from this is. I guess hoping to catch someone, but that's not going to work out anyway. MP9 up against a Kevlar-less opponent. Iceberg gets shredded, and over on A as well, we're seeing success going in favor of Winstrike, so it's looking like a straightforward anti-eco. This is probably going to be the 2 rounds now in a row with no casualties. Unless Crad goes down, this could be dangerous. On 6 health, but no, the CZ, it's there for him. It's his best buddy. All 5 survive, 10-8. It's going to be double digits for Winstrike, and Singularity, they need to get going in this first gun round. If they don't, then we're going to see Winstrike really starting to get a lead going for themselves.
Yeah, they need to take the momentum back now. It's unfortunate that they died to the MP9 as well. I would have rather seen them going maybe towards middle. I mean, I know you've got Glocks. I know you want to try and get something done maybe with that P250, but going into the B apartments, just getting chewed, right? It's just never going to work. Elian, though, under pressure on shore. Iceberg, it was a nice idea to run boost him. He's punished, though. Already removed from the equation. Already Winstrike have that man advantage. Palace Pop going to come through. There's not much presence here for the CT side, and well, Crad does have only that MP9. Nice pick from Nota. Nickelback goes down as well. 3rd pick in quick succession, and Singularity single-handedly open up the A bomb site. Retake may well be given a go. Forrester has got handfuls of cash. He's still on that MP9, though, and Elian on the AUG. It's not what you want to be making this retake a reality. Forrester does salvage himself a FAMAS. Will make his way in towards jungle. 4 on 2 retakes. So little utility. Larson already posted close. Surely going to be all but impossible to clear him out. I think at this point, yeah, Winstrike start to consider their options. Start to look at the save as a potential reality. Forrester Getting his hands on an AK-47, a very nice upgrade indeed. Does take out Larson as they're escaping into the B-bomb site as well, so making it a little more expensive for Singularity. The Danes will get it over the board regardless. They will have that crucial round, as we said, the one where they needed to stop the momentum. I'm using that word all too much on map 1, but they needed to start taking some rifles away from Winstrike, needed to put the pressure back on them on the CT side of things. They've managed that now. With a couple of rifles saved, though, there should be a buy in the next.
I like the swap up there. You don't normally see a 2 to 3 man burst out of Palace. Worked incredibly well with those entries from Notan. He was looking crisp. And yeah, I mean, very convincing on the actual move in towards the bomb site. It did get a little bit shaky, only living with 3 in the end. And also, we do see a couple of weapons being retained for Winstrike, so they've got an incredibly strong buy once again. But that was a good round from Singularity. It's a good sign of what could be to come with their gun rounds here. If they keep it up, if they win this one, suddenly they're back in the lead. I mean, you have Forrester and Elian, who are still somehow pretty rich at this point, but the rest of them would have an adequate cash, rather. Why are words so difficult, Wolfie? I don't know. Let's see, though. Larson. What can he get done on mid? I was about to say it looked like he was going to catch Nickelback, but he's got back out through Connector. Nice nade as well up towards the boxes. Does some further damage on towards both Larson and SMF. And yeah, with that Winstrike, I think are happy to just give up mid. They've made it at the very least costly now for Singularity. Even if they're not aware of that damage, they've made them use a few of those nades. They've slowed them down in their actual approach to taking control up close around short or Connector. And as I said, with that damage especially, it leaves them in a decent position. Nicely timed Molly also. Again, just delaying that control that they want.
Delaying Singularity from executing their plans. Smoke will go into top con. Bomb's still out top of middle. Is going to be recovered by Larson, but as you said, those nades, so much work. SMF on half HP, Larson down on 19. They want to loop this back around towards the B-bomb site, but they've lost their mid control. Elian catches a very nice timing with the fade of the smoke, finds himself the pick, and actually, Winstrike have misread this. They've abandoned their B-bomb site control. It's going to be all on Forrester on this saved AK-47 to get it done. He's got the timing for the first. His position now known. Larson, though, low on HP. His teammate bails him out and gets the second on site. Notan making it viable. Retake still a distinct possibility. Long flank coming in from Nickelback, but Remoy is already on it. Do Winstrike even commit to this? 3 players with rifles. As you said, Forrester very rich indeed. That could make a buy. They're toying with the idea. They've got the man coming through apps. Nickelback, it's an awkward angle to clear, and he will go down. Man advantage found for Singularity, and just hunkering down in this bomb site. They are giving Winstrike nothing. They will have their double digits unopposed. And the 2-man save will come through. I think it's the right call as well from Winstrike, right? If you lose that early man, you've lost your backstab potential. And with the money on Forrester, you could probably still buy into this next round. You'll see Lackey and Nickelback picking up the armor, utility as well. And then, I mean, he's got 10 grand. He can drop 3 rifles.
Yeah, well, I think you'll probably see Alien dropping over a little bit maybe as well. Yeah, able to get himself the AWP out, gives over his rifle, as you said, Forrester with plenty of money. So they'll have everything here. Forrester, I was going to say, might even have a little left over, but no, not quite. Gets the full nades, ensures that they have, again, a really, really strong buy here. But, well, now 2 rounds in a row for Singularity that are looking fantastic, with Notan especially popping off. And that's what you need. You need someone to step up and contend against the firepower that is across the board for Winstrike. And, well, they're delivering right now. That previous round, at least, it wasn't looking to be their one. Quicker A play coming in off the back of this one. Gonna catch, actually, a player instantly swinging from under. I don't even think there was a molly that first Brad out. There may have been, but no, only put down now. Nickelback decides to go forward out through the bench. And does end up catching one in return, at least. So, they've set themselves up decently now. They can wait a moment, they can let the time run down, the smoke start to fade away, and then maybe try and do something about the retake, or maybe even about stopping that bomb plant. And I think that's what they want. They want to move right in for this.
Elian smoked out of the fight is going to have to be the utility man. Pop flashes over the top. They've got Lackey onto triple, but his teammates are being spotted out in the meanwhile and taken down as well. It's an awkward spray for Lackey. Needed 2 there. Can only find the 1-for-1 trade as SMF is spotted out on the ramp. Control is good for the T side. Got positions to commit. Don't actually have to either. SMF could bail out with the bomb if they so choose. Iceberg just clearing out middle. They know Elian is still unaccounted for. The likely AWPer. Bomb going to go down. Forrester unable to contest from CT. Winstrike looking to group their forces and just start to sneak out of this one, but the headshot angle works perfectly for SMF. And Elian, again, impossible situation with the 1v3. There's some util in front of him. There's a defuse kit as well, but Singularity They are not going to give him a pixel to work with. He'll have to fall off, have to save that AWP. And well, the Danes are looking for the upset here. They'll take the lead at 11-10. They'll start to break that economy of the CT side. Elian at least will save the AWP to try and make this next round viable. Just the 2-round loss bonus, though. Only $2,400 coming their way. It's not going to be a good look, and this is Winstrike's map pick. This is the one where we thought, okay, they'll get this over the line. They'll put the pressure on Singularity on Nuke. At the moment, it's looking to paint a very different picture.
Yeah, kind of surprisingly so. We mentioned, obviously, Winstrike could still drop down below Saw back into second seed. Did it need to be one-sided?
More than 10, the round
more
difference,
than, more
I
than
think.
10 on the round difference. Okay, so I don't know if that's the case at the moment. I think they're keeping it relatively close, but obviously it depends how the next map goes as well. And whether they potentially still bring this one back, that's obviously still possible. This round, I mean, there's some pistols around and up. I don't want to underestimate it because we've seen rounds like this being won in the past. Not so far here, actually. We've seen relatively clean anti-eco, surprisingly. MI knows there's a player up here with him, and yeah, we'll catch Crad, who was trying to escape back under Palace. A little bit ambitious there, maybe. Perhaps if he took the fight, he may have had a chance on it. Elian, though, boosted up above the smoke, catches Remi. It's not trading successfully in favor of Winstrike, unfortunately, and I'm pretty sure now they've been forced by that Molotov out of jungle, and it even does some pretty decent damage. Again, they're just going to slow things down at ramp. This is exactly what we've seen in that previous round. And Winstrike, with that, do start going forward. They use the flash. They get a bit antsy. They want to take these fights. And that's what Singularity at the moment, they're looking to try and punish. The flash is perfect, and there we go. Nickelback at least gets one more, but, I mean, even now, damage just doesn't really matter that much. You've got SMF and Iceberg especially, who are pretty rich.
Had them all hemmed in as well. All stuck on that left-hand side of the site, right? There was one ramp, one Tetris, one sandwich. If they had a player to backstab from Palace or CT, then life could have got so much more difficult, but Singularity do well. They deal with it. Perfect pot flash, as you said, to start wiping out the AWPs and the Deagles and just leaving that P250 to do all it possibly can. I will come in. But Singularity on a little bit of a tear on their T side of Mirage, looking like a team who have been scorned and want to prove what they're capable of. Decent bank built up, full firepower. Winstrike with the mid setup initially, but Singularity don't look interested in anything other than B at the moment. All 5 players queuing up for the execution. And Winstrike haven't really taken any CT aggression. It was something that was characteristic of Singularity's CT side. They were taking aggression. They were being proactive, trying to get those calls across. Winstrike, no such feat, so it's going to be Elian. Smoked off of short as it comes down. It's a little late, so he will get himself the first pick. Buys a little time for Forrester behind this bench, but he's going to be found out by Iceberg. And that'll be the bomb down in the 4-on-4. Boosted over the top. Lackey takes out. He's taken out by Larson. And again, Winstrike, such an awkward spot. They haven't got any presence in the bomb site. They haven't got enough utility to find the commitment. And again, they're having to consider the save. Singularity will have their 13th round. They'll stretch this gap just a little bit further. And I'm starting to get a little bit concerned for the CIS roster. They are not looking like they're showing up here. And as we said previously, I think it is a 10-round difference across both maps, or however many maps it takes. If Winstrike do go down by 10 or more, they'll be dropping into that second seed. Life gets a little more awkward. The teams you're facing get a little bit harder to beat. So still plenty on the line for them. And there is a world where if Singularity take this game, they can get themselves out of those guaranteed demotion spots in towards the relegation tournaments where you normally see the drop-down teams performing and managing to scrape their way back into the next season of Premier. So this isn't a ringer game. This isn't a done job. It means something. And Singularity, they are fighting for it at the moment. Buy going to be good again. Firepower will come through for Winstrike. They sacrifice a little bit of utility on a couple of players to make it happen, but it's still a good buy, and Winstrike have been very good at making sure they have those buys as often as possible. They've just got to start making them work.
Yeah, that's been the issue. I mean, they've been saving, as you said. They've been constantly able to get these drops in. It's just Singularity, whenever they burst onto a bomb site, are so clean at getting those entries and locking them out, basically, from even having a go at the retake. And that might be the case again. It's looking like it's going to be a quick play on towards B. We've got Lackey and also Forrester to try and hang on. Decent shot from Lackey initially. And yeah, Forrester also able to catch one. They've gone ahead and gotten themselves a couple of frags. Okay, there we go. The second from Forrester is big. Got a bit of lag as that one came in. But yeah, the bomb plant's still going to go down. And I mean, you've got Notan and Larson, two of the players who've been shown up for Singularity consistently throughout this. And we've already seen a few rounds where Singularity looked like they were down and out and have managed to pull it back. So it's still going to be a tough retake. No kick currently in play either. The footsteps weren't initially heard by Larson, but Elian misses a huge shot and gives them the chance to get them back into this round. Now it's Nickelback and Crad to save the day. And they have brought it to the 1-on-2. There's a kit right there in front of them, up close on short. And well, a perfect flash gives that kill over, as it's not even going to be needed, that kit, rather. They will just get Crad on towards the bomb. Nickelback retrieves the up, tosses it a little bit closer, and even gets the second one. So yeah, big recoveries here. Winstrike, they do finally manage to get themselves back on the board here on the CT side. Not in the most convincing fashion. Oh, we didn't even want the secondary up, apparently. Not in the most convincing fashion in terms of player surviving, I was going to say. But my point was more so reliant on them taking that secondary up, even, because I was going to say that makes up for the fact that they lost so many players. They could get the couple of rifles back in and have two ops who can kind of impose their will on the map, which would have made up maybe for the lack of money. But even then, they've got all their nades back pretty much because of those saves, even that had been coming in. But they've got to keep it up. They can't just let that be a one-off round. They need to ensure now that they take quite a few in a row before they can even afford to drop another, because Singularity had built up some money and obviously had built themselves up into a position where they're pretty close to that finish line already. Those were nice B-hops by Larson. Didn't quite get into the angle, but he does eventually peak. Elian is able to win that challenge out, so a good man advantage once again for Winstrike.
Not sure about that double molly in towards mid either. Uses a little more utility in the window than I would have liked, and, well, Elian gets out of it with just 4 HP of damage done, so not really significant. Winstrike, I think, have used up all their lives here on Mirage. Definitely looking like they need to start finding that consistency, and they are going for the ramp control this time. Nickelback and Crad push it. Nickelback will stay posted. The B-hit going to come through once again. Lackey to try and defend this one. It's looking awkward. They're going to get out onto the bomb site. It's a free pick for Iceberg. Fully blinded, his man goes down, and you can see Forrester trying to do all he can. Nice shot for the first. 4-on-3, he's going to get traded out of the situation. Look at this late lurk. If it finds the frag, it's critical, but Winstrike, they're not over this one yet. They've got some opportunities. There's a potential angle for them to make this one work. Numbers will be punched in on that bomb. 2-on-3 for Singularity to try and hold on. Elian posted in the window. Doesn't catch his man on the cross. Needed that pick. The short take will come through. Bomb ticking away all the while, though, and this starts to get a little bit awkward. Molotov trying to flush these angles out. Does find its pick, and SMF, what can he do? He gets the second. 1v1, AWP versus AWP, and Elian, he's got to try and get into this bomb site. He's got to take this face. Bomb ticking away all the while. SMF just has to buy time. The no-scope comes in. And I think Elian has just clutched this one out. Winstrike, they get it by the skin on their teeth. They get that round on the board. That round was so intense that it's completely crashed my CS. But Winstrike have their 12th.
Jesus, SMF. Chill, bro. Just jump out the window. Absolutely crazy. If he pulled that off, that would have been one of the most ridiculous clutches I've seen in a while. Isn't able to make it happen, sadly, but I mean, they keep the pressure on by bringing it down into the 1-on-1 in the end. You only have the upper who is able to live, so again, there's absolutely no money left over. Now the loss bonus is going down for Winstrike, so that chance to break them is still there, and well, there we go. Finally, the first blood has once again gone the way of Singularity. Remi punishes that palace aggression rather from Crad, and with that it's going to be the straight up A burst. But look up close on ramp, you've got Nickelback playing on the other side of the smoke. Will it be expected as they pile out? Not initially checking the angle, but he was blinded up. And despite the one trade now from the upper, he's going to be forced back into the CT spawn, so it is going to be the man advantage for now, staying towards Singularity. Again though, slowing things down massively.
Winstrike, they've got hope here. They know that Remoy is low. Crad will have communicated that he thinks he's nearly killed his man, so potentially a 3-on-3 if they can just clear up where Crad started. And as you said, Singularity slowing this right down, not wanting to give that man advantage back. In fact, they're going to make it too. Larson peeking the high ground, catches Elian off guard. Nice pot flash in for Forrester, and he will grab one back. Again, that low HP player still on the server as the bomb's recovered. Singularity, they look very unsure at this point. They're trying to slow things right down. It's giving Winstrike this opportunity to get back into things. And in fact, Forrester's going to look to get right back into it. Top of ticket, punished for his aggression, and Lackey left in the 1-on-3. Gets the first wall bang. That's bomb down. And Remoy still with just 6 HP. This really falls to Larson to get it done. He's caught on the cross. He's down to single digits as well. Both of these players, no health to work with. The denial of the plant gonna come through, and with 15 seconds, Remoy with just 6 HP is gonna clutch this up. Lackey with all the health in the world will find it, and Winstrike level things out. That damage Crad gets at the start, absolutely critical to the CT side winning that round.
Yeah, absolutely insane. They went kind of stagnant again around ramp, and normally that can work because you can have them doubting whether you're falling back or if maybe you've kind of gone back towards even a default and it's not going to be the full-on commitment. But the thing is, we've seen that now multiple times from Singularity where they get the advantage and they just kind of sit on Tetris, sit in Palace for a long time. And Winstrike are getting used to it. You can see there they were able to punish it with that damage, as you pointed out, being done early on especially. Massive clutch, though. We've got to give that over to, of course, Elian right there. Was Elian, right? Lackey, sorry. I'm so bad with names and memories, man, in general. If I have a point I'm going to make, and if that wasn't my main thought process at the time, I somehow won't remember it. Dreadful. But yeah, 13-13. We're tied back up. What looked like it was becoming Singularity's game to lose is suddenly one that could go either way, and is even looking to favour Winstrike with, again, an early advantage onto that with that pick onto Iceberg through the smoke, I believe it was initially. But here we go. The commitment's going to come in, and, well, there's a nice setup with already 3 players on this B side of the map, and they've gone ahead and demolished Singularity, not even letting them get a foot forward out of that apartment.
Larson left to try and salvage the pieces. Would do well to potentially even just hold on to that AK-47, but he's going to be flanked all the while. Crad will make the long rotation, so just got to get as much damage as possible. More coming in through the smoke. He's down to half HP, and Elian is going to give him nothing. Orp gets Winstrike the man advantage. I think that pick through the smoke from Forrester was really critical because you could see Winstrike reacting immediately. That B-bomb site's been a little bit weak for them on the CT side, so as soon as he gets manned through the smoke, you could see the rotations. You can see Winstrike start to think this is probably a B hit. The buy's probably not great. They're probably going to hit B. We need presence here. So they get the second man. Elian's fast on the rotation when the hit comes through. And as a result, they've got themselves the advantage on their map pick, and they've pretty much broken the economy of Singularity in the process. The worst possible time for them to be in this spot. But they can't really afford to buy. They're probably going to have to concede map point and start to look at, with that max loss bonus coming into the next round, dragging this one through to OT. Would be a performance either way, right? As we've said, this is Winstrike's map pick, and they've looked very consistent on it. But I think that's what you're starting to see from the CIS roster, is that consistency, that scrappiness to get them back into games that they are in awkward spots and losing positions in. Why is just those Deagles? Couple of flashbangs on Noten to try and get some teammates into good spots, but already the nade damage coming through. Remoy down to half. Iceberg, HE followed by a Molotov takes him down to just 19, so he'll be mopped up by Forrester on that AUG. And the man advantage again found early for Winstrike.
Yeah, seems to be the case. It even was in a lot of those rounds, rather, that Singularity were winning early on. They were just managing to pull back from those poor positions with fantastic entries from Notan, especially a lot of the time, rather. They do know they have a player pinned in under Palace, and yeah, eventually SMF will get himself that kill. But actually getting on towards the bomb site and getting this bomb down is going to be an incredibly difficult task. A couple of kills would be nice. Could help them then to potentially break the economy in the next round, make that overtime a little bit more achievable. We'll see what can be done. Peaks not quite coming in yet, and when they do, it is all frags in favor of Winstrike, rather. Blue kill feed just lighting up. 2 to go. I mean, it's very doable. It's just now that it's been 5 rounds in a row, I believe, for Winstrike. It seems like once they kind of have gotten themselves going once again, Team Singularity just don't know how to put a stop to it. And as I said, had been even losing those initial kills a lot of the time in the early moments of the round. So maybe if they can swap things up on that front, rather. And yeah, they want to try and use Larson based off his mid pick there, I believe. He had a good spawn. Not quite able to catch anyone. They're not even challenging on the side of Winstrike.
Happy just to sit back, hunker down in those bomb sites and wait for the timings to come to them. Forrester a little bit proactive in towards the B apartments, trying to see what he can get done. I've posted Crad as well, aggressive on this A ramp, just to see if there's any hint of a fast execute. But Singularity not giving anything up information-wise. Got that mid control. Larson spamming away on the AWP just to make sure his presence is known, but everyone else playing things nice and passively. Remoy was holding for the Palace aggression that whole time, only now as he started to clear his angles into the ramp. Iceberg, though, again getting punished over on that B-bomb site. Forrester has taken out the lurk. calling that there's nobody else there as well. You could see Nickelback starting to make the rotation immediately, but for now, at least, he's not needed. Remoy's going to have to back out of A ramp. It looks like they want to split this B bomb site again, and there are so many timings potentially on the board here. Lackey on the other side of the smoke could have a huge job to do, locking down short. It is going to be this B split, and it's going to be Lackey and Forrester again tested to try and make something of it. Bomb slowly making its way over towards this site, and the smoke fading might give Elian a timing, but it's Lackey who opens things up. SMF goes down, Notum walks right into it. Larson, the next man, and Lackey, what a moment to show up. Remoy the last, and it's not going to happen. It will be Winstrike taking their map pick, 16-13, and well, that's a punishing way for Singularity to lose it.
Yeah, there was quite a few moments there. I mean, they had a decent start, obviously, but it was Winstrike really who got going in the early moments. So we seen them make a great recovery in that first half to get a strong position. We seen them get going there on the second half as soon as they got the guns out as well, but they just kind of hit a brick wall and weren't able to really do anything after that point, it seemed, once Winstrike again woke up. To be fair, we've got to be fair here. It was Winstrike's map pick, but I don't know how much Nuke is really going to favour them either. That's also a map that Winstrike do play a lot and have really good results on. Again, we mentioned they're a very active team. They play in a lot of these smaller tournaments as well, so maybe some of those stats are slightly padded, but we know it's a map that they're more than capable of on. And even then, if we manage to see Singularity pull that one back and get over towards Train, again, another map that we haven't seen Singularity play a lot, and we know Winstrike are also capable on. So there's just kind of a lot of unknown factors at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way, right? And to me, this feels like Winstrike showing that they can grind a game out. That is the difference between good and great teams, is when your back's against the wall, when things aren't going your way, you find a way to win. And Winstrike have managed to do that. They've put Singularity in a position that I don't think even they would have expected to find themselves in, right? They look so promising, so strong. They really had Winstrike's number, but just not quite being able to get it over the line. I think I'm the exact same as you. I do worry for them going into Nuke. I worry that maybe they're not going to be able to pick themselves up. Maybe Winstrike, as we've said time and time again, with all that experience, will be able to do the same again. But we're going to have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be throwing it to a little bit of a break. And when we're back, it's going to be Nuke.